it is the goal of every entrepreneur building a company like Apple where people are waiting in line to buy the next product. Guy Kawasaki may have a few ideas. He has been referred to as Apple's former chief evangelist, the brains behind the marketing campaign for the first iMac computer. Guy is now a venture capitalist. He is the author of a new bestseller called Enchantment: The Art of Changing Hearts, Minds, and Actions. He is joining us now from our London bureau. Guy, thanks so much for joining us. Before we talk about Apple and Enchantment, I want to ask you to weigh in on one of Apple's competitors. What do you make of Google and its potential FTC threat? I mean, is this drumbeat going to distract the company at a time when it has to be more worried about Facebook and less about Washington?
Frankly, I doubt that it's going to distract the company. There's so many great people at Google. Certainly, you know, they have legal counsel and they have general counsel, so, I mean, it's compartmentalized. I have to say that, you know, I've been on both sides of these kinds of lawsuits. It's sort of considered a rite of passage that, you know, you finally arrived when you are considered for this kind of lawsuit. And I think it's driven, a lot of it is just by jealousy. I mean, Google has done a great job. And as the Google spokesperson said, it's not that hard to switch search engines if you don't like what they do.
Which is certainly a fair point. But even if it is driven by jealousy, I mean, we saw what happened to Microsoft. Many would argue it more or less plateaued in growth after it faced its own antitrust probe. But I'm just wondering, as a famous tech investor with lots of experience, I mean, what would you advise for Google at this juncture? Even if your view, you almost see it as a compliment that they're facing antitrust concerns.
Well, you know, I think Google should just continue on doing the best it can, making great products and services, and let the market decide. I can't imagine the fact that Microsoft was facing all these legal issues, and that's when it started to plateau. It's not necessarily a causative relationship. I don't think the lawsuit caused Microsoft to do that. There's a period in most companies' life cycle where, you know, the founders are not necessarily there anymore, the first engineers, and it gets difficult to maintain that passion, and that's the test.
So it sounds like you have to fight on a personal level and then on a corporate level, disenchantment, which you address in your book. But you bring up a good point about the absence of leadership. What does this mean for Apple? We know that Tim Cook is a strong pick, but can he really continue in the Steve Jobs vein?
You know, the honest answer to that, and if anybody tells you different, I think they're lying or deluding themselves. Nobody knows. I mean, you could make the case that Steve's DNA is so strong that he has influenced that company forever. You could also make the case that if Steve leaves, you know, permanently, that in fact, the company will degrade because no one will set the design parameters. It could go either way. I don't think anybody knows, but certainly, you know, Sony and Walt Disney or Disney Company have persevered, so it can be done.
Guy, we thank you so much. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Guy Kawasaki, author of Enchantment, joining us there from our London bureau.